Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the work coming up, sir?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and
Ever since Nolan Wells' body was found, his family has been left with more questions than answers. While the media quietly retreats, and certain voices try to frame this as a case of white boys being blamed solely based on skin color. But people made it very clear from the beginning that Nolan's case was not going away without justice. And this newly leaked audio proves that his friends knew exactly what happened to him, and may have been protecting the real culprit the entire time. There are still a lot of moving parts here, but with this audio, the puzzle is slowly starting to come together. The story begins on the 4th of July in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. 18-year-old Nolan Xavier Wells went out with friends and joined a group trip to Horn Island, just 10 miles off the Mississippi coast. Popular for holiday gatherings and boat parties, so nothing was supposed to go wrong. Photos show the boat arrived around 11 a.m., Nolan visible in blue swim trunks and sunglasses, smiling with the group. Multiple boats and dozens of people were on the island. For the first few hours, it looked like a completely normal trip, but around 3 p.m. something shifted. Nolan was spotted near the northwestern end of the island, and that was the last real sighting anyone can confirm. Around 4:30 p.m. the boat left the island without him. The friend's story was that Nolan chose to stay behind with an unknown girl and would get back another way. But the girl they named, Katie, was the first to give her account to police, and she told them she had left the island before Nolan did, and that he had every intention of riding home with his friends. When Nolan had not called or come home by midnight, his mother contacted the Jackson County Sheriff's Office and reported him missing. The search launched on July 5th. At 8 a.m. on July 6th, a park ranger found a body near the northwestern tip of Horn Island, identified as Nolan by his parents and later confirmed by forensic testing. During the search, his parents tried to track his phone and discovered it was sitting inside his friend's house. When they retrieved it along with his car keys, they found the phone had been completely wiped. No photos, no videos from that day, which was deeply out of character for their son. The racial element was one of the first things people noticed when the story went viral. Photos showed Nolan was the only black person in the group. And then there was the friend's behavior. Instead of showing any visible grief or concern for someone they had played football with for years, they immediately deactivated their social media accounts and lawyered up. Ashley Cole, the stepmother of Warren, one of the boys on the island that day, came forward with her family's version of events, claiming the accounts were deactivated for safety and that the boat had been taking on water with a bilge pump issue, and that Nolan made the choice to stay and return later with a different group. Ashley Cole was not on that island. Her account is entirely based on what her son told her, and while none of this alone proves criminal involvement, the pattern of going silent, lawyering up, and offering contradictory explanations while a friend turns up dead says a great deal about character. Nolan's self-proclaimed best friend Warren even did an interview to push back on the narrative, saying the last time he saw Nolan, he was fine, and with a girl named Katie, that the boat was taking on water and they shouted at him to come aboard, and that Nolan told them to go without him. But Katie told both the friends and Nolan's parents that the last time she saw Nolan, his friends were calling him to the boat, and that he told her he was going home with them.
Nolan seemed completely fine every time I talked to him. We had just regular conversations, and Nolan was making me laugh. I was sitting by the boat with that Katie girl, and my buddy yelled for Nolan, get on the boat. We're leaving. The boat's having issues, and no, he didn't say that, but he was panicking. Nolan, get the F on the boat. Get on the boat. And Nolan said, no, I'm staying out here. I'm going to ride in with somebody else. And it's not uncommon to hear, but it's not like my buddy asked him one time. My buddy asked Nolan multiple times to get on the boat. Nolan, get on the boat. Get on the boat. We're leaving. If you're coming, you got to come now. And Nolan made a decision to stay out on the island.
And then the audio dropped, and it confirmed that Nolan was on that boat. The recording is an emergency call that Wyatt, another friend, made to Coast Guard operators for help with their vessel. And even before the operator picks up, you can already hear something deeply disturbing happening in the background.
Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the word coming up, sir?
They did not realize the call was already being recorded before anyone answered, so they were speaking completely freely. And you can hear someone mentioning that a person had died. The moment the operator picks up, everything changes. Wyatt begins explaining they need help with the boat, but in the background you can still hear people panicking, loudly enough that the operator herself noticed and started asking very direct questions about whether there were living people on board. The answers Wyatt gave her were evasive and confusing.
There are 0 adults on board.
There's nobody on board the boat?
No. Nobody
right.
here is over the age of 21.
Sir, that was not the question. Is there a person? Is there a person, a living individual on the boat?
Hello?
Is there a living person, someone breathing on the boat? Is there anybody on the boat?
Yes, there's lots of people breathing on the boat.
All right, how many people, sir?
Like 7.
All right, thank you.
And then you hear someone in the background say, "Check his chest." And the operator caught it too, because she immediately asked whether they needed the United States Coast Guard. Wyatt said no. And what comes next is even more alarming. The operator connected to the captain of the vessel to send assistance, only to find out that Wyatt's grandfather Jerry had already called that same captain and told him they did not need help.
Service come up under Jerry.
Okay.
It sounds like a bunch of kids on board on Horn Island. He's letting me know that his father's a member, but he can't give me any information. And he's saying the boat is sinking. And he's on Horn Island. It's just unfortunate. He's just a kid. There's a lot going on. So
Right.
he said there's about a lot of people on board. He says he thinks about 7. I'm guessing they're all under 18.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to be rude. He wants you guys to go out there and unpump the boat and then tow it in.
Off the phone with his grandpa, who I'm guessing is the owner of the boat. And
Is it
he
Jerry?
said that Jerry, yeah. He said,
Okay.
I just hung up with him. He said that they don't need any help right now, but if something changes, he'll call me back. So I'm guessing that they may have figured it out, because that's what he said. So they're in a panic and their boat won't crank.
Yeah, they're in a panic. He's saying the bilge is not keeping up. I asked for Coast Guard. He said no, but he's just really upset on the back end. And, I get it. It's a kid. He just doesn't understand.
Oh, okay. Do you still have him on the line?
Yes, I still have him on the line.
Which means Wyatt called his grandfather first, who then called the captain to stand down, while Wyatt simultaneously dialed the operator. That looks like an alibi being constructed in real time, and this call was recorded at 4 p.m. The boat did not leave the island until approximately 4:30 p.m. For a vessel reportedly sinking and in need of emergency help, they did not go straight home. GPS records show the boat made multiple trips to Fort Bayou before returning, and a name that surfaced in that audio, Bart, lived approximately a mile from Fort Bayou, which makes those detours suddenly very significant. Bart Edmiston initially claimed Nolan was a friend of his, but that he had nothing to do with the death because he had not been in Mississippi for over a year. That was a lie. The MDMR Marine Patrol report shows 2 boats were investigated, one registered to Bart Edmiston, and social media photos confirm he was in Mississippi at that exact time. So why did Bart lie? Now, some people have tried to claim the audio is AI generated and manipulated, but audio aside, the friend's actions have been riddled with contradictions. Warren said Nolan was fine when they last saw him. Another friend said he was extremely intoxicated from alcohol, and the Mississippi District Attorney stated they would not be releasing Nolan's autopsy or additional case information in order to protect the integrity of the investigation.
In Mississippi, the rules of professional conduct restrict the information a prosecutor can release during an investigation. Our restraint in communicating facts and evidence is not an effort to keep the truth from the public. It is an effort to protect the integrity of this investigation and the grand jury proceeding.
And then suddenly, people close to investigators started leaking that Nolan was spotted on the island as late as 6 p.m. by 2 separate witnesses, and that he appeared extremely intoxicated. Where is this coming from? And if it is true, where is the toxicology report? Where are the photos or videos from those witnesses? Because this directly contradicts everything we heard on that emergency audio, and it contradicts the DA's own stated reason for withholding information. Nolan's parents feared from the very beginning that this case would be ruled an accidental accidental drowning. And right now we are watching that fear play out exactly as they predicted. Whether anyone wants to acknowledge it or not, that audio is evidence that something happened on that boat. Nolan was on board and something occurred between 4 p.m. and 4:30 p.m. before that boat left the island. The independent autopsy commission for Nolan could not fully rule out foul play, and his family is gearing up to make sure he gets justice. His mother has already filed legal claims to be recognized as the sole heir to his estate, which will most likely consist entirely of damages arising from the circumstances of his death. They would not be taking those steps without believing there is a strong case and a real possibility of winning. And people are rallying hard around this. The craziest for me was when they tell the call operator and she asks them if they need the US Coast Guard, and they say no, like what, the F don't need help when the boat is sinking? So these friends absolutely tried to cover up Nolan. Wells' death, now that the full emergency call has been released, there is irrefutable proof. I hope every single one of them is held accountable, and whoever else helped, cover this up regardless of whether it was an accident or not. Something nefarious happened out there, and no one is saying anything. This reminds me so much of the Gabby Petito case where Brian Laundrie came back without her, and they later found her thanks to social media sleuths. Something smells a little off with this. So what do you think? Is this audio strong proof of a cover-up, or was it released to distract us from something else entirely? Sound off in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe. Bye, baddies.